That's your.
Turn off your phone, Doug. How's it me? You're not how phones work. Why are you quiet? Just
Kaboom!
talk.
That's your phone. That's not my
Richard, I'm
phone.
looking at my phone.
I'm
How is
looking
it
at
my
my
phone?
phone. What
So
phone is that?
you don't have other phones in your house?
No.
You got a whole family,
Yeah, they're at school. This is my phone.
bro. That's not my phone.
Regin, I don't have that ring. You have that
It's
kind of
not my
ring.
phone. I'm looking at my phone, Doug. What is wrong with you?
Oh, you know
What's
what?
going on, everybody? What? Whose phone is it now? It's your phone, right? You just
No,
realized whose phone is
my
it?
daughter's friend slept over.
There
I think
you
she
go.
forgot her phone.
Oh, so you should jot.
Yeah. Kaboom.
Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
think it's in the. Yeah. Okay. Fair
Oh, you
point.
don't think I know where it is? I can tell you where it is in your house, and I'm looking at you. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the AIB Show. This is the Myth.
And Dominic.
All right. Obviously, you can tell we're off to a rocking start on this Friday the 13th, which is when we're recording this, not when we're distributing this. And yeah, it's been a pretty interesting week. Interesting is not the word I would actually use to describe it. Pretty effed up week, but there's some lighthearted stuff too that we'll get to.
Yeah, we'll get into, of course, the Israel Palestine situation. Yeah, let's start off light first, definitely.
All right. What you got for us?
Me, you're
Okay,
handling
there
the
you go.
light.
I'm handling the light. All right. First things first. Did you hear
First
Jerry
things first,
Seinfeld?
this guy. Wait, before that, just before we got on, he's mocking me, an elitist. I didn't realize my co-host and lifelong friend is an elitist, mocking me for not being in lounges at airports.
Wasn't a mocking. I was just saying that I have calls to take for work prior to my flight this afternoon, and I will take those at the airport. So I have to go to the airport early so I can be a productive member of society. And Dominic's solution was, as opposed to being productive, just block off your calendar so no work gets done and nobody makes any money, as opposed to admit going to the airport, paying his hard-earned money to have access to a lounge.
No, your exact words were. Your exact words were. What do you
You
mean?
said, how are you going to get there?
I said you could be in a loud area. You said loud area.
No, that's not what you said. You
No,
said, you
that's-
said
no,
"Bro,
no,
you got to
no.
get there to find a quiet area.
You said
And I was like,
loud
quiet area.
area, son. I'll be in a lounge. I don't know how you roll.
Yeah,
Very elitist. Very elitist.
I'll make the guy who doesn't pay for a flight since my entire life. How many flights you pay for? Like 2 flights a year, and you're on like 20.
Very elitist. I'm a pleb. I'm a commoner. I'm one for the people.
I'm a pleb. This is the same guy we talked about, whose license plate has his name on it, whose mom got him out of classes on Friday, who is worked maybe a combined 10 hours a week for the past 40 years.
You're an idiot.
Actually, we average it out. It's probably less than 10 hours a week if you think about it. But either way, props to you. You're making it work.
It probably is because I'm 43. So for the last 40 years, did a maths, dog. Yeah.
But I would say mine is still 40.
No.
But on a side note, did you hear Jerry Seinfeld did this thing about a revival dynamic?
No.
All right. So, and by the way, he shouldn't. Is the simple dynamic here, right? So he was doing the show, and when he was leaving the show, he said at the very end, he said, I have a little secret to tell you, but you can't tell anybody. He's telling the audience, obviously, and everybody's chuckling, right? He goes, because they're talking about the end of Seinfeld, and he goes, just what you're thinking about, Larry and I are also thinking about. So you'll see. So in essence, kind of open-ended to where the show or doing something with the show since. Now, do I think they should revisit the show at all? Nope. Let it end. Frasier came back. I don't know why we need more of this, man. Like, I mean,
when did Frasier come back?
It's coming back on Paramount Plus, by the way.
Okay.
And it came back, I think, like this week.
Get Jerry on Curb or something, like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's a better way to do it. Yes. Yeah, but you don't need to revive anything with Seinfeld. Elaine's gone on and done amazing work in pretty much every other show she did, by the way. Right? She's been dope. Did you watch Veep?
Nope.
Brethren.
Nope.
Veep is solid. Veep is like, yo, that's some good political fodder right there. It's a solid show. But either way, she's been awesome in a bunch of things. So there is that. And then the new show from the Boys. That new show is out too, by the way.
The Boys on
Generation
Prime, but that spinoff doesn't look good.
I haven't watched any of it. The trailer looks really, really bad, meaning the CGI, and I just couldn't get into it. But I haven't watched any of it, so I don't really know how to. But I was hoping you did, but obviously you did not. You know, so there was that, and then, then the other thing. This is more for Dominic. So the actual thing was, and I'll find the actual article here right now. Skittles banned in California. So
Now, is this true? Is this
so
because
the
I seen
and it goes, how so
headlines
is
that
it
I'm wondering if it was clickbait.
they're not banning Skittles, right? They're banning a couple of the ingredients, right? So in
Any
essence,
red dye 40 being banned?
it's red dye number 3 actually.
Oh, I don't know about
The
3.
red dye number 3, bromated vegetable. Man, I'm probably butchering that. Bromated vegetable oil, potassium bromate, and propyl paraben have been linked to risk of cancer and hyperactivity in kids. So these particular items are in Skittles and a couple other, candy type products out there. I think some cereals as well and things like that. So they're being banned. And the thing is, they've banned them. Everybody's so now the internet's because everybody's in nutrition all of a sudden. It's like, oh, they've been banning this in Europe forever. We're just getting around to this now because obviously everybody knew this forever and didn't realize that it should be banned. So California's taking the first steps, but they're
Yeah,
not
a lot
banning.
of people do it, man. You look at skincare, Europe. We're a joke here. You look at skincare. There's it's something like 13,000 ingredients are banned in skincare in Europe, and it's I think less than 100 in the US.
No,
That's
I'm not
insane.
doubting. I'm not doubting any of this, by the way, and I'm not saying that it should or shouldn't be banned. What I'm saying is, when people jump on the bandwagon now as if they've been causing an uproar forever, you haven't, and now you're making it seem like you've been the most woke person in this arena forever. I don't like those people, is what I'm saying.
All right, but
You
a lot
could-
of people
you just
have
go,
been.
oh, I
Like
didn't know.
we don't give our kids because we saw it firsthand. We saw
That's
red
also-
Gatorade or red lollipops. We would see the hyperactivity in our own children.
You're good.
So I didn't
All
need
right.
a test study like I saw
That's my point.
kids.
So do I need a ban?
Maybe
What
it
if
doesn't
I
work
like
in other
Skittles?
kids, but I saw the reaction in my own kids.
But
So
that's
we
my
don't allow
point.
it.
But isn't that what your parenting's supposed to be, by the way? Don't you determine what your kid should be eating? Why you gotta ban it for me? Now, I'm not saying.
No. Time out. You're going down a slippery path. Why do we
Yeah.
ban narcotics?
Okay, hold on, we want to go down this path. I don't know.
Now, if you're free, if you don't like, then that's a consistent thing. If you're a libertarianist thought process,
All right,
don't
okay,
ban them.
take that back. Well, hold up. I'm not okay. Ban is a strong word for me, right? I don't like the drinking age dynamic. I think it's
so you'd like to leave that up to the parents and you're. I'm not arguing. I'm just trying to see if there's a consistent basis.
I guess you also have to realize I don't have kids, so it's easy for me to make many of these claims.
No, but
right?
that's fine. You don't have to have kids to.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, there's nothing. I'm good regard. Like meaning, I have to. I can say these words without having to deal with any of the impact. Right. My point. So it's easy for me to say a lot of these things. One is I don't. So the liquor ban thing, I think I don't agree with. Period. I think parents can judge that one. I would also say, for example, I mean, there's also common sense. A baby shouldn't be going out there behind it, right? So I think we can abide by some general common sense in society, right? Jamaica now has a liquor ban, underage law, right? I think there's like
no, I
but
think
I don't know what it is, but
I think they always our whole
Really?
lives they did. Yes.
no, because we used to go little. I remember going where I
I
couldn't see
know,
over
but I
the
think
counter and buying a
legally there
beer.
was still an age. I mean, the old joke was if you're old enough to see over the bar, you're old enough to drink.
That's man, I couldn't see over the bar till 2 years ago, dog. What are you talking
Yeah, I'm not sure you still can.
about? But yeah, so I don't get.
No,
So
I
I
think
don't
the
think
age was always has been 18, just not enforced.
see, all right. So I don't think there's something. I don't think there's a value
We were
add
out.
there.
I mean, you weren't drinking, but we were out, 15 years old drinking
No,
at-
I know that's my
at
point.
bars, not just
That's
like
my
at someone's
point.
house. Yeah.
But that's why I don't get the thing, right? I don't get so that I'm not a fan of that law, for example,
Okay.
right? Things along those lines, right? Cigarettes, all that. Like I don't. I mean, parenting, knowing that, but you're gonna
What
do
about
it.
how about though it becomes a slippery slope
It
because
does? I'm sure.
what
I'm not thinking about everything. I'm thinking
ingredients
about
in
it.
food production? Forget
Okay, so here's the
that
thing,
kind
though.
of stuff, right?
I'll agree with you here, actually, right? I'll take a step back on this. I'm sure there are other products that are not cancer causing that would give me a similar flavor, taste, whatever. So I'm totally about this, right? By the way, I'm not on this. I'm not on this train. I'm just on the. I'm more than happy. Like, oh shit, that's pretty sad. We should probably fix that. Versus, told you. That's where I'm at, right? Because people would just come out the woodwork about.
So
I know
basically,
this
saying you have
brand.
people on your timeline that are like,
Yes, and they bother me.
fine,
Because
so you give none
everybody,
of them the benefit of the doubt, or you assume some.
the ones that are on my timeline, no, I know them. That is not. They're not the research and the ingredients in food products. So no, I give them no props at all. I just think that they're very conveniently jumping on the bandwagon, right? So that's my take on it. And if I'm wrong, don't at me either way. It's not that serious. We can move on from that. But yeah, so they're banning this. And you did a 23andMe thing, didn't you?
No.
Did you saw the hacking, right? So they got hacked,
I did.
right?
I did
So,
Ancestry.
but it wasn't them. So they didn't get hacked itself. It's a weird hacking, right? People broke. So
No, they hacked
people.
the people.
No, yeah, and they got their password, and they use that password again and again and again, and then getting in. So people use the same password for like a bunch of different things, and I'm sure you're one of these people, by the way.
Yes.
See that?
Amit is the most annoying person with passwords because he doesn't make a password. He has these random password generators. So if I have to log into something of his, he can't tell me what the password is, but he can literally guess my passwords for anything. Not that we share any TV accounts or anything. Wink, wink. But he knows how to get because he knows he could literally steal all my money. Like he can break into any account, right? I have no idea what his are. It's so friggin' annoying because it's like it'll be like XY, the symbol for boron, like Seinfeld's in that joke.
Manganese.
Like money, manganese, XY underscore 2. Right.
That's why it's called a friggin' password, son. It's not supposed to be easy to achieve. If that was the case, then why would we even have one? It would just be a mid 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, jeez.
Right?
All right,
That's
go
what
on. Sorry. So
they
broke
anyway.
in. 23andMe, the database, which 23andMe and Ancestry. Do you agree? They're not DNA companies. They're information aggregators. That the whole process is to get that information.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's going to be used for research or whatever purposes in the future.
Yeah, I don't know the actual purpose to your point, but yeah, I feel you there. But I mean, but again, if these people had better passwords, right, this wouldn't have been an issue, right? If these people wanted to have passwords that weren't like Dominic and that were a little specific to various apps or services they subscribe to, this wouldn't have been a thing. Not so much the case. One other pseudo lighthearted note. Actually, not lighthearted. Bro, how vexed were you last week when the Canes lost?
Miami hurt. I actually wasn't. I was just more stunned.
You weren't vexed?
Nope.
Brethren, I was laying on my couch, pissed the whole game because the game was trash.
Yeah, I was texting you. I was at a wedding, so I wasn't seeing a lot of the first
game. Was so trash. Like I was bored out of my mind. I'm on my phone. They're on the last drive. Hurricanes have the ball. They can win by taking a knee. Literally that.
And for those that's like a guaranteed win. It's what happens. It's a move. What happens from elementary to middle school, high school, college, NFL. In Madden, the video game, it's something you can select to do. It's the most basic principle of winning a football game. It's a guaranteed win, and they didn't do it. They lost.
It's madness. So I'm sitting on my couch. They're playing horribly, right? TVD goes back to TVD of old and throws way too many picks. It was just a trash game, completely horrible. And I was just pissed on my couch. So I'm watching, and I have a wedding this Saturday, so I'm gonna miss this game. So that's gonna be an interesting one. Yeah, that's rough. I mean, we're gonna get our ass handed to us. We're as bad as I thought we were before going to season. So there's that. On another random one, this is the last thing that I'll mention on the lighthearted dynamics. Did you know that they're proposing a housing law named after Katy Perry?
Not until your notes. I did not.
So here's the dynamic. The Protecting Elderly one more time. The Protecting Elder Realty for Retirement Years, Perry Act, soon to be introduced in several states, would give home sellers age 75 and up to 72 hours to change their mind after parting ways with a personal residence. So it stems from a lawsuit that went to trial a few weeks back against the Queen of Kemp and her fiance, Orlando Bloom. Huh, I didn't know that was her fiance. Did you know Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom were a thing?
I feel like I did. I used to pay attention to this stuff. You remember I used to subscribe to magazines pre-internet days, Us Weekly.
Magazines. For those of you who don't know, that's when you flip. That was what the internet was back in the day.
Yeah. Wow. I used to subscribe. Us Weekly, In Touch, all those.
So the suit was filed by Carl Westcott, the octogenarian who founded 1-800-Flowers decades ago, and father-in-law of the Real Housewife, who you probably know, Cameron Westcott. You know who that is? I assume you do. You watch Real Housewives, don't you?
There's like 10 of them. I watched 2, ATL and OC.
Oh, I don't know what's from. Anyway, dude went back. Apparently, he's got a neurodegenerative disease. So he agreed to sell a Santa Barbara mansion to the celebrity couple, $14.2 million in 2020, and then tried to renege on the deal a few days later. And he claims that even though he signed the paperwork, he said that he was in the right state of mind and so on and so forth. So there's literally an act that's being passed that gives old people a blah, saying, all right, my bad, you got 72 days, 72 hours to get
out. You can do that
out.
with a car, can't you? Or at least a lease. I don't know about sales.
You can get out of a lease?
I think you have like 72 hours. Yeah.
Did not know that. So, all right, Katy Perry law. I figured you in the real estate world, you should probably know that one. But yeah, all right, that's what I got.
All right, before we get to the deep stuff, there's no way in hell. If anybody, like, if you're listening, do yourself a favor and go find this video on YouTube, because there's no way this man can tell me he does not dye his hair. His head top is, black like the night sky.
It's full of grays, son. Your camera's just shoddy. You've got to get a better computer, dog.
Yeah.
Full of grays, man. Full of grays, literally.
Yeah.
Your
face is full of grays.
Yes, as well. Both full of grays.
I don't think anybody in the audience believes it.
All right, well, that is the case. Oh, and then on the last entertainment news, the SAG strike talks broke down. So we still don't have anything being made. So the writers are cool, but you can't really do anything. So all things are back are late night stuff like that. Why did SAG break down?
No.
What?
I thought they agreed. No.
No. The WGA, the writers agreed. So the writers have ratified their deal.
Actors Guild did not.
That is correct.
They're not on board together.
No, that would be two different.
No, I know they're different, but
units.
I thought it'd be like seeing that.
Well, that's what everybody thought too. Everybody's like, "Oh, this will be easy. Just to piggyback on the one the writers got, and we'll do a little
so
something."
Now
something
SAG pissed at the Writers Guild for.
No, they're not pissed. Just SAG is we're waiting for SAG to sign off on their deal so we can go back to work, and they haven't. And they're fighting against a bunch of random stuff. They're fighting for additional revenue streams that weren't part of the deal, and looks kind of greedy from my point of view, but I could be wrong. I haven't seen all the detail, but we'll see what comes down. Either way, it's not a good situation right now because it's suspended, and if they don't go back to work soon, yeah, that just pushes everything back for a lot of folk. And even the airline industry's Delta's down too, because not as much people flying out of California, including Detroit as well, because Detroit has the car strikes going, the automotive strikes going on. So you're not flying back and forth into those cities, and Delta has a big hub in both cities, so they're struggling. Businesses have gone down, prop houses have closed, all that stuff going on. There's a lot of ancillary dynamics with the actors and stuff just hanging out, but that's that.
Last thing, you ever flown Southwest? Mr. Airport Snob?
Well, I think twice on when I was on the West Coast because I had to go
to I flew it home to Jamaica last year or 3 years ago. Zero recollection.
See, evidently.
Yeah, because
you don't remember getting on.
No, I have zero.
You don't remember because they board different. They board in like A, B, or C groups.
Exactly. So my wife is shocked that I don't remember this. I don't. I just flew it home this weekend. Amazing experience.
From where?
From Pittsburgh.
What was so amazing about the experience?
So I shall tell you. Right.
Please do, Dominic.
Free check bag. If
you still checking bags?
I mean, if
did you go for a weekend?
Yeah.
What are you checking a bag for, son?
A long weekend.
Bro.
All right.
You checked the bag for like 3 days?
I brought 5 shoes.
Bro.
Oh, hold on.
There's 3 days.
You wear shoes on the plane. You have a gym shoes.
Hold up. Why do you need a gym shoes now? Come on, man.
Hold on, again. Look.
-1 shoes, down to 4.
I got rid of a chin, down to 1 chin. I'm coming.
Oh, man.
I have a gym
shoes. Did you use the gym shoes?
100%.
You're a lying ass. What'd you do with the gym? You just drop 100%. Katie off and leave the gym? Like, what'd you do with the gym, son?
I went to the gym.
What did you do with the gym?
I did my full rehab leg routine. I did some overhead single arm dumbbell cleans. I did some pull-ups. And
my son, how much? Like 10 each and call it a day? No, like, did you need the shoes for this? Like, did you need specific shoes to facilitate this?
Technically, what I did, what I needed.
That's what I asked.
Technically, no. But even on the Peloton there, if I put like casual sneakers in there, they're gonna scuff them up in there. So technically, did I need it to perform? No. So I'm in that.
All right, go on. Sorry. 5 shoes, brethren.
I have the wedding brown shoes. I have a wedding white.
You're not the sneakers.
I'm a sneakers to the wedding. My wife was like, "Oh, you can't do that to a wedding." I said, "Yo,
I'm taking the sneakers right now when I go to I have a wedding this weekend. I take the sneakers.
I just got clean,
brand new, no scuff.
White sneakers.
White sneakers, good. Yeah, that's what I do today.
So we were going back and forth, and my son is like, "Dad, if you do the brown shoes like mommy says you have to, we got a problem." Like he's like pissed, right? So, but and then I get to the venue the night before. I'm like, ooh,
But
it's like artificial turf, like the grass, but it's like
Mhm.
wet. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna bring two pair. I'm gonna bring both. I'm gonna wear the brown shoes to the ceremony, and then wear the white sneakers to the event.
You know that you're not in the wedding. You do not have to do a wardrobe change, right? This ain't like for you,
No, but I
son.
don't want to. I don't want to mess up the white sneakers on the grass there. So I'm like, I'll rock the brown
You
shoes.
went the day before.
Yeah, because like the not rehearsal dinner, but like the gathering was there the
Oh,
day
I thought you literally
before.
did a walkthrough to make sure. That makes a little more sense. I'm like, this guy's doing a walkthrough.
So
That
I have
like,
the
who are
shoes,
you?
shoes for the plane, two
Yeah.
shoes for the wedding, shoes for the gym, and the shoes for like the 2 nights before, the Thursday night, Friday night. You know. So I brought 5 pairs of shoes.
Oh
Seems
god.
normal.
Oh god. I'm not gonna lie. Hold up. I was a checked luggage youth up until like a year and a half ago, give or take, maybe a little more than that. And now I'm the if it does, I can get in the bag. I know I
No,
can.
I bought this amazing bag off of Instagram. I'm a sucker. Everything that advertises on Instagram. I bought shoes,
Awesome
random
pants.
watch, bracelets, a bag. I bought like a blender. Like I'm the sucker for stuff. This bag is amazing. $98 is the best travel bag I've ever seen in my life. So that's
I,
how
I,
you use
I
it.
cut you off though, Southwest. So you check free check
Oh,
bag.
okay. Free check back. So if you check in within 24 at the 24-hour mark, they allow you to check in. And what I've read is pretty much when you check in there, you're going to get in section B. There's A, B,
Yes.
C.
Yes.
But you pay $20 extra. That's it. And it pre-checks you in 36 hours before. Good chance you get in section A. We got in section A, got emergency seats for $20. I'm getting an emergency exit. It's pretty
Wait,
dope.
isn't that what it costs on like regular planes?
No,
Too?
wait, which regular? I'm a pleb. $50, $60, $70 for emergency exit and a higher ticket price.
Really?
Yeah. And even if I didn't pay that for the emergency exit, you're coming down, you're getting your aisle, you just it's a vibe. I'm digging it. Great customer service if you review
You're
it too.
rushing on the plane like a herd of cattle
No, you're
to
not
get
rushing.
first
It's
seat.
it's actually best because I'm the kind of person I board last because I can't take sitting for 40 minutes watching people like idiots can't just
But you're
move.
also no, but you're also the youth who's checking in luggage, so you can board last. You see me? I have a bag, so I'm not boarding last at all because I need to put my bag up top, and I'm not dealing with it because
Yeah, but
we're
that's
out of
cool.
overhead space. Not playing this space, son. Right? No. I'm
No, but
also
in a
half
hundred
the
the
size.
lineup they say A1 through 20. You go up there, everybody sits. It's a
Yeah,
very organized process.
yeah. I mean, it's different. I'll
It's
give you
good.
that.
It's
And the
good.
customer service you said was great.
The what?
You said the service was great. You said
Oh, it's spectacular.
what kind of service you gets in from a flight from Pennsylvania down there, dog? Like
Oh,
one
by the way,
day?
Pittsburgh. When's the last time you've been to Pittsburgh?
Really, dog?
I don't know.
Never, man. Why am I going to
Oh,
Pittsburgh for, dog? This
it
guy.
is weird. It's a friend said it's like zombies walking around. So I Googled it and they were hit hard by the opioid epidemic. Bro, I've never seen nothing like this in South Florida, New York. Like we were all one guy was like, I don't even want to go on the streets. I wouldn't let Katie wanted to go to see this. I was like, you're not going. No. Like it's freaky and weird. The amount of people that are just drugs
So
out.
you now more scared of Pennsylvania or scared of New York City?
Oh, I'm all in on New York.
And scared of
Pennsylvania. I'm not scared of Pennsylvania. There's not a chance in hell. Okay. Miami, New York, 9, 10 o'clock at night, a block or two, completely fine with no wife and daughter going to CVS. Zero chance I'd let that happen there.
Really?
Yeah. And it's not like it's quote unquote bad neighborhoods. It's downtown, right? The business district. But you have so many people walking around like this. Literally like this. People missing teeth from the jugs out. People like different kind of schizophrenia, like with the screaming and like sad mental states of some homeless people. It's unfortunate. This is a whole other level. It's just the brain's fried, man. It's wild. We were all noticing this.
Damn.
Yeah, wild.
At the wedding venue. Okay. Yeah, I've never been. I've been to Philly, but actually I've barely done Philly either, so I can't really talk about that. I've only been to Philly, like I did the airport recently, and I've been there once before. But that was for a concert, and that was like one of the last concerts I've ever been to. All right, well, got limited time. I know you want to get into the heavy situation.
Yeah, we'll do this for a few minutes.
Yes. So Amit will be quiet.
No, you need to talk to.
Go.
So obviously, what's going on Israel Palestine? You know, um, I have a lot more Jewish friends. I have a ton of Jewish friends um, who are experiencing a genuine pain, which is obviously heartfelt, which resonates with me, not necessarily because, my affinity to the friendship. It's just more human suffering. Empathize, but innately, it doesn't resonate the same, right? And my empathy is also equal for the innocent victims in Palestine too, right? Because again, it comes down to human suffering. And I think there's an interesting dynamic here where we have about selective morality. It's understanding again because it's human nature. So I hate saying both sides. This is a term I'm sure you hear this term all the time. Mm-hmm. Both sides of this, or it's on both sides. Like I hate the division, but yeah, both sides are feeling their own genuine pain, and it's hard to, in a vacuum, empathize with what's going on the other side. But there is genuine hurt, pain, destruction, terror, heartache on both sides. And we can get into the blame. I mean, there's obvious stuff. Hamas, evil. If I actually believed in hell, I believe they would burn in hell. That's simple. And it's interesting that this is a very American way of doing things, and it's going on now with Israel, with the constant need for people to condemn Hamas, or it's assumed that you then tolerate it if you don't condemn, where condemnation for them is pretty damn obvious. Of course, there's outliers here in the U.S. that support it, and there's many people in Palestine that support it. But on a macro level, condemnation doesn't seem to be necessary, because when U.S. officials are being interviewed, government officials or Israeli government officials are being interviewed, we don't ask them to condemn the war crimes committed historically by their policies or their countries, right? Because we're not expecting them to condemn, and quite frankly, we know they are empowering the ones that do it. So this conflict, people like to talk about and say it's very complicated, when in fact it's very simple. I was under the assumption that this was a historical beef for thousands of years, thousands. When in reality, this conflict itself is not even a century and a half old. People also believe that this started after the Holocaust, because the Jews, after suffering the greatest is a weird phrase, the largest genocide. Is that your phone?
Reginald, we just went through this, man. It's your daughter's friend's phone, dog.
Damn it. The largest genocide in the history of mankind.
I mean, the timing on that phone ring.
It's going to stop soon. The largest genocide in the history of mankind occurred. People assume that because so many Jews were displaced and not accepted, like good old America turned them away. The rest of the world turned them away. Anti-Semitism was, at that point, an all-time high. People assume that's why Israel was established, because the Jews, again, suffered this genocide and had nowhere to go. When in reality, the establishment of Israel started the process 50 years prior, by a gentleman named Theodor Herzl, a Hungarian Jewish individual who started the Zionism movement, which the premise was the establishment of a homeland for Jews in the quote unquote motherland, which is now present day Israel. So after 2,000 years of being displaced throughout history, they wanted to return home. So the process started in 1903. England actually proposed. Did you know this? England actually proposed the establishment of this homeland in all places, Uganda, which, looking back now, that would have been an interesting place for Israel to be.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. And it actually gained traction. And Herzl himself, the founder of the Zionist movement, wasn't interested, and the Jewish Congress voted on it, and they were establishing. But once he died in 1904, Herzl, that kind of died out. Then in 1917, The Balfour
If you said
Declaration.
like Sudan or something like that, I'd give
Yeah.
it to you, or even Eritrea, but Uganda
This guy threw out Eritrea
or Djibouti. I'm saying one of those up there. I mean, because they're at least in like the region. You feel me? Like
Yeah.
this is like, all right, man, this is like an arbitrary place on a different continent. But I digress. I'm sorry. Keep going. I was looking at the map.
Well, because it comes out to colonialism, because England controlled.
They oh yeah, they had the land.
Yeah.
It's like I got this.
Yeah.
What, you know, I have this parking garage. You want to hold on to this?
Exactly.
Mhm.
So in 1917, so that was actually gaining traction, and there were some other areas also. In 1917, Lord Balfour wrote what's known as the Balfour Declaration, a public statement in support for the establishment of a homeland for Israelis. And I'm paraphrasing this, but the premise was it should be in Palestine, but should not infringe upon the rights and culture, everything of the natives there, being the Palestinians who had been there, been under Ottoman rule for hundreds of years. The Ottoman Empire, Muslim empire, that it's one of the largest empires in the history of the world, right? And they ruled for centuries. They were controlling Palestine for about 500 years. And in 1917, they were in World War I, and they were defeated and had to give up, the entire empire, which included Palestine. So Britain came in, as colonial powers do, take over, divided up the whole region. So they said they would do that in 1917, but of course, Holocaust happened in the 40s. So during this process, they were allowing immigration in. So Jewish individuals were immigrating into the area slowly by slowly every year. There was a cap of what could be done. There was sects of violence. There was, of course,
sect. Sorry, I'm just saying.
Palestinian uprisings against the premise of this is our home. You can't come in and do this, whether anti-Semitic or not. Just simple math. Some of the rationale would have been anti-Semitic, and some of it would have been no, not anti-Semitic. But this is mine. This is our home. Yeah. So there were some violent terrorist clashes there. There was also pro-Zionist Jewish people with some terrorist activities there, going back and forth. And things built and built. And of course, after the devastation and horror of the Holocaust, things were ramped up because they literally had nowhere to go. And UN adopted the resolution to grant them land. Palestinians and the Arab world rejected it. And, they fought back. And then again in the 60s, it was called the Yom Kippur War, maybe. They were attacked again in Israel, and Israel took land, right, as a result. They defended themselves and took land, but that land technically is not theirs. The entire world, except the US, pretty much agrees on that. And so does the UN. And that's been the conflict ever since. And on a side note, during this time 50 years ago, we talked about this in our old episode, the US led the coup of Iran in the 50s because Mossadegh, probably pronounced it horribly, he was a beloved leader of Iran, and he was fighting back. British Petroleum controlled Iran's own oil. And he said, no, I'm going to give this to my people. This is our country. Of course, Britain didn't like that, went to the US for help. They led a coup, got rid of somebody who was democratically elected in a country and was doing well for the country. The country is thriving and about to be even more prosperous with their own oil. Led to a coup, put in their puppet Shah, which then led to the 1979 revolution in Iran, which, why I'm being verbose about this, who is now allegedly funding Hamas? Iran. Long story short, America has a direct or indirect role of pretty much every single tragedy in this world in modern history. So Hamas now terrorizing Israel, the irony with Israel, America being Israel's largest ally, is the direct cause of their current largest enemy and most destructive enemy, whose sole purpose currently is to eradicate Israel. Good old America, right?
Well, so, I mean, it's we talk about this too, but some of this too is predicated on religion as well, which also annoys me because that goes back to a lot of this stuff is that, right? And
both sides feel that we go into religion. Both sides feel God has blessed them with
Correct. And my take on religion, i.e., wow, I feel like every major problem in this world I trace back to religion. And I can almost say that without failure. I think I'm 100% right on that. Every major war, every major uprising, etc., is based on religion. Not good things, by the way. All the things I'm talking about are negative. All the separation, all the again, this, right? Muslim versus Jewish versus Christianity versus whatever. I mean, it's our religion. All of this. This is my holy land. This is your holy land. This is, I own this, you own this. And it's also very funny too. I was actually, funny is not the right word, but I was talking with Kaylee last night. We're talking about, I was going over some of this, like some of the history, not to the level you just went into, but the history that I'm aware of. And then went into the fact of, but even talking about the US, right? And they're like, and she was like, right. And I was like, the whole idea of land ownership. If you just focus on the US right now, none of this is ours.
Well, I was going to get into that, but go ahead. Yes.
Point, right? No, but I'm like, it's a really weird dynamic when you go, technically that's mine, right? Because none of this, like the way the world has been structured, again, based on religious and whoever in power at the time, right? That's kind of the dynamic, right? Whoever the ruling power at the time is determines determines the land grab and determines who owns what and who gets what. And it's just really shady, man. You were going to say something.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because, I've heard friends say things like, it's a defense. It's a weird thing because Israel is attacked, right? And their people are slaughtered. So then the default move is to counter that attack. But in countering that attack, innocent people are dying of the enemy that are affiliated with the enemy by default.
Yeah.
Right? Some supporters, but the majority are innocent people, men, women, and children who are going to die and who are dying. So it becomes like a selective morality because it turns a blind eye to what's happening to them because of the pain you're feeling. It's kind of like, well, I'm always against the death penalty. And people say, well, what if someone you knew or cared about was something brutal happened to them? And my whole thing is public policy and things should never be based off of emotion and a present day or current trauma or situation. So expand upon that murdered death penalty scenario to an egregious attack, the worst attack on Jews since the Holocaust, right? This is horrible.
Yeah.
But now it's leading to the deaths of innocent people. And guess what else this does? It inflames those who are already anti-Israel, anti-Semitic. This only makes things worse. It's fuel to the fire. See that with the racist tropes and see they are the devil. Look what they do.
It's going to come worse. Yeah, nobody wins here.
Nobody wins.
And that's and a lot of innocent people die.
Well, I'd say Hamas wins because Israel was going to do this.
Yeah, but hold up, but I mean,
probably they don't care. Their goal is
but then after a period of time, I assume, but their own people would be like, "Yo, dog."
What's that phrase? What's that phrase where if you're in war and people die, it's oh
my god, casualty of the war, but
I know, but it's you know what I mean.
Yeah, it'll come back to me right now. Hold up.
So they don't care about their own people dying. That's just part of the process, right? It goes back and forth, but also collateral damage. Yes, that's it. Perfect. But it's also, so now Israel has shut off electricity, water, food, everything from these people. And I don't know how many they are, but there are going to be people in hospitals, baby, who are going to wind up dying. Whether it's 200, 2,000, it's innocent people, right? They are running out of food. Based on international law, this is not allowed, right? But then I hear a Israeli defense minister or some kind of minister saying, and I get it, though I may not necessarily agree with it, I get it. You want me to The rest of the world can do that. You want me to provide sustenance to my enemy who's trying to kill me? You want me to do that? To which I say, I get it. I don't agree with it because those people aren't your enemy. Those people. I have friends who have said, well, Gaza voted for Hamas. Well, yeah, they did almost 20 years ago. At that point, Hamas, they started in the 80s as a more spiritual and
it's
nationalistic thing.
20 years is a long time. The Republican Party 20 years ago is not what it is now. I think it's pretty safe to say in our country.
But when they took power, what people don't realize, there was a week of civil war inside Gaza from the group that was in power that didn't want them doing this because they become a militaristic and even more aggressive than they were, right? In their right for what they feel for is freedom they need and go against the oppression that they feel they're suffering. So, yeah, it's like also, okay, half the country voted for Trump, or you can conversely say if you don't like half the country voted for Biden. That doesn't mean if everybody's involved. And then I hear things like, well, why doesn't Egypt let them in? Right? And I say, well, okay, let's break this down. Why Egypt? What? Because they're Muslim? Okay, 2 billion Muslim people around the world, right? And they're different sects. We don't expect all Christians to take in Ukrainians, all Christian countries, the largest religion in the world. Why haven't we taken every Ukrainian? Right? We said, then people say, well, they speak the same language. They're Arab. They speak Arabic. Well, there's different sects of Arabic. Dialects. They speak different dialects. Like if an American or Englishman came to Jamaica, literally they could spend a whole day not understand a single word. If the people in Jamaica that are around and just speak straight patois, they would not understand a single word, yet it's still English. There's no affinity. Also, why didn't the world take in the Jews during the Holocaust, right? Suffering this tragedy. Why didn't Israel take it? Look at the proximity between Israel and Syria. Why hasn't Israel taken in Syrians? Like Jordan has. So it's a hypocritical thing and a short-sighted question to ask why. Some people ask me that under the defense of, see, Palestinians are bad, no one wants them. And that's bullshit. That's not why they're not being accepting them, right? It's a hard, and it's generalizing.
It's very generalizing.
My problem is, I keep saying both sides. My problem is the generalizing. Like my daughter has a girl she knew, I wouldn't say a friend, years ago, and she probably 7-8 years ago, and she just showed me on TikTok or Snapchat that the girl posted a picture of herself and saying, when Israel gets what it deserves. And this was last weekend. And it's like, what the bleep, right? And I have friends saying that, see, Israelis don't do this, Jewish people don't do this. And that's patently false. Humanity does this. Yeah. Last week in my barbershop, before the attacks last weekend, I went in and my barber told me a guy was just in here, Israeli guy, going off on Palestinians, ironically. F them all. I hope they burn in hell. They're pieces of bleep. F every one of them. They're scum. They're rotten. They're evil. Now, obviously, that's a minority of people saying this. Same with the Palestinians. There's hate everywhere. Mm-hmm. But I'm getting, like my wife put up a post and she's getting kickback from certain people that,
man, your daughter, this friend is about to be not a friend anymore too.
Israel doesn't promote hate. And I'm like, this is apparently false.
Yeah,
the entire
every
world
place
does.
has it. Every place has it.
Every culture, every race.
That's my thing. Generalizations I don't like, period. Because one generalization I can say is I've said it before all the time, man, we selfish, right? And I've said it again and again and again. I think that's the one generalization I can give wholeheartedly. We are selfish. Yeah. And when it benefits you, I get it. When it doesn't benefit you, I get it. I am the same, right? But the reality is to put everybody in this, we're noble and they're not, and vice versa. That's not true.
And I do get at the moment again when it's hard. The back and forth where Palestinians and supporters of Palestine have said, yes, what Hamas did is horrible. All right, how about what we have suffered for a long time, and we've been vociferous about this, and no one hears or listens? How about the fact right now we're having innocent people die? But that's not in the media. What's in the media is the deaths of the innocent people last weekend, right? Lives are lives.
Mm-hmm. But they're not. We know that. They're not.
Yeah.
You know how many civil wars are going on in Africa right
No, it
now?
doesn't. And how much America is involved in them? Yes.
All right, man. So
Yes.
they're not. Like, again, I keep saying this. We are selfish, period. Right? Like, just the way of the world, man. And this is just
It's
horrible
just
as
a weird
one
way
word
of
to describe it, man.
qualifying humanity and dignity. So this conflict is so complicated, people think, but it's so simple. Israel is illegally occupying territories. It's not a conjecture, it's fact. And it was a result of them being attacked and defending themselves. But they occupied territory that's not there. Netanyahu, the prime minister, who you referred to as Ariel Sharon last night.
I made the mistake yesterday. That's on me. But also, good history by Amit, by the way. To even remember that Sharon was all right.
It was a solid reference. It really was a solid reference.
Yeah.
He has stated that Israel's expansion into these illegally occupied territories, right, and settlements is not counterproductive and does not hinder peace, which is absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. And he's horrible. Now, I've heard people equate him to being just as bad as Hamas. No, but he's absolutely complicit in this whole mess. And the mentality, I heard a great phrase. The Netanyahu mentality has led to the Hamas reality. Right or wrong, defending it or not defending it, but it's the truth, right? So you're justifying that right-wing government is justifying the expansion into the legally occupied territories, expanding settlements. So basically, it's the largest refugee population in the world in their own, what they believe is their own home, and what was supposed to be their own home by those who established and gave Israel to Jewish population that was displaced. It's wild.
Yep.
It's wild. And last thing. So Netanyahu recently, earlier this year, did a judicial overview where they've now can overrule the Supreme Court. So if the Supreme Court has issues with what they're doing in raising communities and expanding settlements, they supersede that. The right-wing government supersedes that. So I say, bullshit. I don't believe he believes or wants equitable peace. He does not. Equitable peace.
There is no equitable, but it's not just him though, because there is a whole, what is it?
But it's the religious right there. It's the irony that you say about this. I was actually educated this by a friend like 7 years ago who spends 3-4 months a year for the last 20 years in Israel, right? An American Jewish woman, but she has family there and spends there. And she educated me that the left, less religious, is more progressive and wants an actual peace, where the right and more religious doesn't. It's extreme. It's more right wing than we have here in America.
I was going to say it's very much like America.
You know, it's
Hold
more.
up. I don't know if it's more, by the way. I would say it's pretty in line with what we have here.
No, because in America, at least the right wing wants less government interference.
No, they say that until they go, hey, I want to ban this in school and I want to do this. So it's no, don't do that, man. That is not true at all. And you and I both know that.
Well, I think that's more of the DeSantis.
You cannot read this book. You cannot do that. You can say whatever you want.
Expanding. But the premise of right is the left really has wanted more.
I'm with you, but the premise of I want less government, it's I want more oversight, but I want less government spending. That's the difference, right? And by the way, that's also kind of counterproductive, right? But I'm going to tell you what you can read, what you have to learn, what is the history, which is actually not the history, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That seems like a lot of government overreach to me. Either way, and I get me riled up on the right in this country. All right. Anyway, Amit's got to go. I got things to do. Sadly, I don't see this situation.
Oh, here's my thing. Here's my thing. Give every inch of land back. Every inch. Not meaning that Israel has no land. The land that wasn't granted to them. Give every inch of land back. And call the other side's bluff. See what happens. Then we determine. But until then, you can't tell me you genuinely want equitable peace. You can't. It's impossible. That's it.
Good times.
Lastly, if anybody knows, there's so many charitable organizations out there that I'm not comfortable giving a penny to anything to either side to help with, because I don't know like where the money's going, what's going on. So I don't know if anybody's done any research on that. Just displaced families and children, Israeli and Palestinian, you know. And the irony is I see people posting that stuff and there's backlash on that stuff. And it's like, how's there backlash? Want to help innocent people. What backlash? In what world is this wrong?
In ours.
Yeah. So if anybody knows, please let us know.
In the real world.
Because I have not done research.
All right.
Justice over order always.
Amidst go fly.
And that failed here.
And what would you say?
And that failed here. That's what led to this conflict. Justice over order.
All right, everybody. It's not the way we want to end the show, but it is the reality of the world we're in today. We will chat with you guys in a couple of weeks. Have a good one.